But let's start with Andrew Berry, because Browns GM Andrew Berry, I think, made some news here. I don't want to bury this. He said he sees Travis Hunter primarily as a wide receiver. Now, let's remember, Travis Hunter played corner and receiver for Colorado. We all know that. At the combine, listed as a corner. Teams seem a little split on where he is. Make no bones about it. He is seen as a difference maker on both sides of the ball. But Jori, any shock to you to hear the Browns come out right and say, hey, he's a wide receiver to us?
Yeah, I mean, kudos for Andrew Berry to be willing to say that. I think what's interesting is Andrew Berry said if you ask him cornerback or receiver, the answer is yes. But if you ask, hey, if you're drafting him, where would you primarily play him? The answer is receiver. Now, Travis Hunter is, I think, officially labeled a DB at the combine, which doesn't mean a lot. It means that he will be with the DBs for a lot of the interview and logistical purposes, be a part of their workouts should he choose to participate. He still can participate in the receiver workouts after. That does not keep him from participating in the receiver workouts. I think, to me, when I hear that, I say, is that because you think Travis Hunter's skills project better as a receiver? Or is it because you think that it is easier to find a good cornerback? And so if you have someone who can be very good at both, you'd rather have a receiver, and it's more valuable to you in a passing league, in a league where offense is consistently helped out by all of the rules, to be able to play that guy as a receiver.
One thing that really struck me about this is that a lot of stuff you hear this week is lies, deceptions, half-truths, whatever. Andrew Berry really has no reason to lie about this. If they want Travis Hunter number 2, they're probably going to draft him number 2, right? So I think it was just an honest moment saying, yes, we view him primarily as a receiver. Like you talked about, Jori, he kind of answered it in a little bit different ways. But I think this is the only team I've seen really come out and say, we think he's a receiver. And to me, just like last college football season, Travis Hunter is the most fascinating guy in this draft, because how many times has there been, or is going to be in the rest of our lifetimes, a guy who could legitimately come to the combine and say, if I want to be a quarterback, I'm the number 1 quarterback in this class. And if I want to be a receiver, I'm the number 1 receiver in this class. Like, that is unbelievable to me. This is some Shohei Ohtani stuff at some point. So fascinated to see just how teams talk about Travis Hunter, how he works out, what Travis wants to do necessarily. We won't get the final answer until draft day when we see who drafts him. If it's Cleveland, that might be a different answer to what Travis Hunter is as an NFL player than if the Giants draft him or the Raiders draft him or whoever else. So I'm just fascinated by Travis Hunter. I think he is by far the story of this draft.
Look, guys, I want to stress here, I think people are blowing up the snap count without the nuance of what that means. Like, when you talk about the number of snaps that Travis Hunter played in his last year at Colorado, it's astounding. We've never seen anything like it in history. But it's not just about snaps, it's about valuable snaps. Because the important part of this is that he truly was a very good corner and a very good wide receiver game in and game out. He truly was their number 1 on both sides of the ball. And every time I've talked to or heard anyone that has talked to Travis, he thinks he can do that in the NFL. And I'm kind of stepping back at this point saying, why not? None of us thought he could do it at Colorado. Are we really sure that he's just going to be one or the other with some specialty packages? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at Deion and saying, if Deion's coaching staff was smart enough to figure out how to recover his body, how to work his practice routes out, how to make sure that he was ready for everything he needed to be ready for, if Deion can do that, then my God, I'm looking at Brian Callahan, who said it's very realistic, Titans coach, that Hunter can play both ways. It's up to Callahan and the coaching staff to figure out how to make that happen. I don't think we need to limit what Travis Hunter is capable of, Jori. I think if he wants to play both ways, why the hell not give him a chance to? He's earned it.
Right. I mean, coaches and executives were answering questions often about Travis Hunter yesterday. And I believe it was Brian Callahan, definitely one of them, that said, hey, firstly, you got to just note the level of fitness and endurance that this guy has for the number of snaps he's played. It's not that he's playing a little bit of each. It's just the mass amount of volume he's playing. To me, the question is not whether Travis Hunter can succeed playing both. It's whether a coaching staff would let him. Deion Sanders played a long time ago, and I think most of these staffs are going to have something that they most prioritize. The front office will have a vision for him. The coaching staff will have a vision for him. Where is the overlap? Who's the ultimate decision maker in the building? And to me, it's like, oh, well, if I'm Brian Callahan and I'm the offensive play caller and I have these visions for him that I'm super excited about, I'm probably pulling him to receiver.
Yeah, I just think the value, kind of as Fitz talked about, the value in Travis Hunter diminishes if you just put him on one side of the ball. And I get all the reasons why, right? Like, you're more susceptible to injury playing twice as many snaps. And I'm not saying he would play 100% of the snaps on each side of the ball. That's unrealistic. But the Deion connection here is really interesting because Deion put him, both ways at Colorado. And college is different than the NFL. I get that. But the last guy and the only real guy who's who's tried to do this in our lifetime is Deion Sanders. In 96, Deion Sanders was not a full-time receiver with the Cowboys, but enough that he got, I believe, 39 catches. Obviously was the best cornerback in football, was basically a two-way player all year. And Deion obviously didn't think that was hard enough because he let Travis Hunter do it at Colorado. So I think I think a team has to be creative with Travis Hunter. That's why I want to see him go to the right spot. I do think he can play both ways in a somewhat limited basis, maybe full-time corner, 25 snaps a game at receiver, where he can make a big play or two. I think if you just say, no, you're just going to be a cornerback, well, why draft him in the top 5 then? Because I think his value diminishes at that point. To one of the things that makes Travis Hunter special is he can do both of these things and do them both at an incredibly high level.
Yeah,
I'm also curious, and you guys have been covering the league longer than I have, how much more difficult is it from a game planning standpoint to play multiple positions? I covered the Dallas Cowboys when Micah Parsons came in and was primarily in the linebackers room. And then it was like, okay, actually, we're not going to have him primarily in the linebackers room. Because, again, he was not really an edge rusher as an undergrad. Now, part of that was just how short he played at Penn State, especially given the COVID restrictions and him opting out of that last COVID year. But there was this idea of, well, why don't we have him in the D-line room and the linebackers room? Well, why don't we have a coach who's designated with making sure that whatever he missed in one position group, he's going to get from the other? But that's one side of the ball. When you're learning the same defensive game plan, you're scouting the same opponents. You just might be scouting a couple guys in the way that a guard might need to scout the edge rusher and the defensive tackle, depending on who's coming for him. It's very different to have it to scout 2 sets of 11 players in the game plans.
And my main answer to that is he's already done it. So I just wonder if this is normal to him, that he could pull it off. And we try. Look, in many ways, college and the NFL are completely different sports, but in some ways they're not. Like, I'm sure Colorado had very in-depth game planning, and Travis Hunter still pulled it off. That leads me to believe Travis Hunter's really, really adept at picking this stuff up. He's a smart guy, that he can absorb this information on both sides of the ball. So it's almost like, the Titans' new GM came out and somebody asked him, like, hey, do you think Travis Hunter can play both ways? And his answer was, well, he's already done it, so yeah, why not? And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, Jori, is can an NFL team pull this off? And my answer to that would be, well, he's kind of already done it, so why not?
I think what I would say is that at the college level, he's probably significantly better than the other guys who could otherwise be playing either of those positions for him. At the NFL, let's say you're 10% better than the other guys from a skill set standpoint versus 25%. But all of a sudden you're going to be 14% less effective at remembering your assignments and having mental errors and missed assignments. Well, so then that calculus changes. I don't think it's so binary of can he do it, can he not? The question is, what is the coaching staff's tolerance for some of the mistakes he has? If he makes them, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes in as completely capable. But the reason I don't think he's going to have no mental errors is because no one who's only on one side of the ball doesn't have mental errors. And so I think that's kind of what you're weighing if you're the coaching staff.
But there are 2 things here to me that really stand out. Number one, I don't think it's realistic for the rest of his career he's going to play both ways. But in the beginning, why not try and figure out where his best strengths lie in the league? But the other part of this, and this is, to me, always on my mind. I talked to a guy years ago when he was drafted by the Titans in his rookie year, and we were going out to dinner, and I said, how's it going? And he said, man, the hardest part of my rookie year is that as a college athlete, my whole team went from room to room together. We spent every day together. We spent every minute together. He's like, man, you get to the pros, and the minute practice is done and meetings are done, people go, they have their own lives. You got grown-ass men that have families, and they just go live normal lives while they're playing in the NFL. All right, so acknowledging that one of the biggest differences from the college game to the NFL game is that you do have more free time during the day if you want to. If Travis Hunter wants to use that free time to absorb another position, who am I to tell him not to? Like, I think we have this concept that players come into the league and they spend 20 hours a day studying tape, and I just don't think that's real. I think they spend a lot of their day at the facility, and then they spend a lot of their day watching things and learning things. Yes, they put a lot of work into it, but there are pockets of hours where guys choose to play video games. If Travis Hunter wants to spend every waking minute he has trying to learn 2 positions, why would a team stop him until he at least takes the chance on the field to see how that works? Maybe he's just better at breaking down information than most guys. I don't want to rule out that in his rookie year, he's playing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think he's just a freak. I think he's just a freak as far as his physical ability and maybe his mental ability too, to be able to process all this and be able to do all of it. We've never seen anything like this. It's just, it's outrageous almost that he was able to pull this off. And again, I just think you're right. I would agree. Like, try it out. See what happens. Like, he's going to go to a team like the Browns or no offense, the Raiders, who you can live with some mistakes this way. As long as you're trying to get to a place where we figure out, oh my goodness, Travis Hunter is just one of one. He's Shohei Ohtani of football, and he could just do this. Like, this
Man,
is
you
just
bet,
his norm.
Frank, you better hope he doesn't end up with the Raiders. We'll be doing a live stream at the time for the draft, I'm sure. I might bring tearaway pants and just rip them off and start doing like naked cartwheels. I don't know.
I think we should probably all bring tearaway pants, whether or not
But
Travis
he's supposed-
Hunter ends up with the
I mean,
Raiders.
that's fair. Like,
That was the best part of high school basketball, and you like ran
It
out,
really was,
and then
yeah.
before the game, you're like, "Wee!"
I mean, like I might get Raiders Speedo and just, woo, just
Oh, goodness.
there we go.
No,
But
we're not doing that. But I think Travis Hunter, like, there's really
Limiting me
exciting
now.
players in the NFL. Like, I love watching Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson. I think Travis Hunter might come in and be the most intriguing player in the NFL right away. Because if he could pull this off, it's just unbelievable to me. Again, I keep bringing up Ohtani, but to me, this is the equivalent of a guy who just says, yeah, I'm the best quarterback in this draft. I'm the best receiver in this draft. I can play both in the NFL. Why not? I won the Heisman Trophy doing it. Bet against me. I'm fascinated. I think he enters the NFL as one of the absolute must-watch players.